So today I'm going to be comparing and contrasting Miley Stewart and Carly Shay. Now I'm talking about Miley Stewart and Carly Shay, not Miley Cyrus and Miranda Cosgrove. So I don't want to see anyone mentioning either of those talented ladies in a negative way. Okay, now Miley Stewart is the main character in Disney's Hannah Montana, and Miley actually has an alter ego named Hannah Montana, and since Miley and Hannah are considered two separate people, I will treat them as such in this video. So Miley Stewart is a country girl from Tennessee, she has a horse named Blue Jeans, she even has a country accent and everything. However, Miley is also a self-absorbed diva, and I think most, if not all of it, stems from her alter ego Hannah Montana. Now, Hannah Montana is a huge pop star, both in the show and in real life, which was so incredible to see. So Miss Montana is over here raking in millions, if not billions of dollars, and all the money she earns basically pays for everything for the people around her. For example, that ranch that they move into in Hannah Montana Forever, that was bought with the money Hannah Montana made. Like it had to be because nothing else would make sense. So everyone basically tries to stay on Miley's good side because she's paying for everything. But I will say it's very hard to stay on Miley Stewart's good side because Miley is very hard to please. She's also a very scary person. Notice how everyone around her is terrified of her. Even her best friend Lily. The only person not really terrified of Miley is her father, Robbie Ray Stewart, who I will talk more about later. Okay, now let's move on to Carly Shay. Carly Shay is the main character in Nickelodeon's iCarly. Her personality is very quirky, witty, and overall just a big goofy ball of sunshine. Now, every Disney/Nickelodeon main character has to have a thing that makes them unique. For example, Miley's thing is that she's secretly a pop star. Now, Carly's thing that makes her unique is that she's the host of her own web show titled iCarly, which, if I'm being honest, I'm not the biggest fan of. Anyways, unlike Miley, who is literally the center of attention everywhere she goes, Carly is strangely not very present in her own show. Like, there are so many scenes in the show where Carly is just absent for no reason, and the rest of the characters just carry on without her. For example, in the episode Eyeballs, Carly goes to Yakima to take care of her grandfather for the weekend. We last see her 1/3 of the way into the episode, then she returns, but it's only for the last 20 seconds of the episode. Now, Carly usually isn't gone for this long, which leads me to believe that her absence in this episode was due to a scheduling conflict that Miranda Cosgrove had at the time, because she was working on a bunch of projects like Despicable Me and stuff. However, if you go back and rewatch the show, take note of all the times either Sam or Freddie walks into Carly's house and asks where Carly is, then Spencer says Carly is at the Groovy Smoothie, or she's at a friend's house, or showering, and then Sam or Freddie says, okay, and then everyone just carries on without Carly. Anyways, now I want to take a moment to talk about both girls' families because I think both of them have very interesting family situations going on. Now, Miley lives with her father, Robbie Ray, and her brother, Jackson. Now, Robbie Ray is probably the only person Miley can relate to. Both love music, both can sing, and in fact, Robbie Ray used to be a musician just like his daughter, but now he just writes music for her. Also, Robbie Ray is the only person to put Miley Stewart in her place when her diva antics go too far like they did in Hannah Montana the movie. Okay, now moving on to Carly's father. Now, Carly's father, Colonel Shay, is part of the U.S. Air Force, so as you can imagine, he's rarely at home with his family. And although he's not as present as Miley's father is, he's mentioned very frequently throughout the show. We even see Carly do several special iCarly webisodes dedicated to her father. For example, in the episodes I Won't Cancel the Show and I Meet the First Lady. So even though Carly's dad isn't always around, he's still a very important person in Carly's life. In fact, I would say Carly's dad is just as important to Carly as Miley's mother is to Miley. Speaking of moms, Miley and Carly both have mothers who are not with them. However, Miley's mother, who passed away of a terminal illness a few years before the events of the pilot episode of Hannah Montana, she's mentioned plenty of times throughout the series, even in Hannah Montana Forever. We also get to see Susan Stewart in person in some episodes, and we get to see Miley watching old videos of her in other episodes. Whereas Carly's mother, she's never even mentioned, not even once. Okay, now let's talk about Miley and Carly's relationships with their brothers. Now, Miley and Jackson have a pretty typical brother-sister relationship. Tons of teasing and fighting, but there's obviously love between the two. And in fact, my favorite brother-sister moment between the two is actually in the season 3 finale, when Miley is asking Jackson for advice on whether or not she should move back to Tennessee. Now, Carly and Spencer have a very unique sibling relationship that I don't think I've ever seen before on a Nickelodeon or Disney Channel show. First of all, they're like 15 years apart, but they're still closer than most siblings. Also, Spencer is not only Carly's older brother, he's also her guardian, so he's supposed to act like a parent figure for Carly, even though we know most of the time Carly acts like a parent figure for Spencer. But some of my favorite episodes of iCarly are the ones where Spencer acts like an actual grown-up. Now lastly, I want to talk about both Miley's and Carly's friends. Now Miley's best friends are Lily and Oliver, and Carly's best friends are Sam and Freddie. Now both friend groups are actually pretty similar. Lily and Sam are both tomboys, except Lily is not violent like Sam is. And then Freddie and Oliver are that sensitive guy friend, except Oliver is more of a player, and Freddie is more nerdy. Now with Miley and Carly, things aren't as similar. With Miley, her friends keep getting dragged into her problems, like in the He Could Be the One episode when Miley couldn't choose between Jake and Jesse. Also in the season 2 episode, Yet Another Side of Me, which I think is Hannah Montana at her most self-absorbed, Miley feels the pressure to change up Hannah's image and she asks her friends for help. Now with Carly, she's always getting dragged into her friends' problems. For example, in I Date Sam and Freddie, when Sam and Freddie were dating, they kept coming to Carly for help every time they had a disagreement, and then she had to come and try to fix everything, and it was this whole mess. Also in I Sam's Mom, when Sam was having problems with her mom, she kept coming to Carly for help. She even broke into Carly's room in the middle of the night, which was pretty bad. Anyways, that's it for my video. It was fun comparing and contrasting Miley Stewart and Carly Shay. On the surface, these two ladies seem to have nothing in common, but they actually have a lot more in common than you'd think. Anyways, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And yeah, sorry for being MIA for the past few weeks. Honestly, I've just been living life, doing volunteering, having fun. But yeah, I'm back. Anyways, thank you so much for watching.